Hello everyone, this is TheHunterDD33 and today we're going to be talking about my life. I've been hunting ever since I was a little boy. It's in my blood. I found this to be my true passion. There's a certain satisfaction that I get when I'm sitting at the dinner table and I take a bite of my steak knowing that I'm the one that brought this meal to the table. In real life, hunting is really limited and you can only hunt a few weeks out of the year. However, I came upon this game called The Hunter, where I can hunt 24/7 and get a similar satisfaction. So I thought that was pretty amazing. That's why I started making videos, because I love what I do. But it has come to my attention that some people are interested in my personal life, which includes my past life and what I'm doing when I'm not playing the hunter. So I decided to make a video about my life, what is true and what is not true, and so you can get to know me a little better. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin with about 1,000 people, on a farm with cows, pigs, chickens, cornfields, bean fields, and cabbage fields. I had a very strict father who demanded me to work on the farm almost every day, which left for very little fun in my childhood. When I was 7 years old, my dad handed me my first bolt-action .22 Savage long rifle, and we went out doing some squirrel hunting. This was just the beginning. When I was about 8 years old, I learned how to shoot bow and arrow, and I got my first Bear compound bow. I would shoot that thing almost every single day. Around 12 years old, I got my first 20 gauge Remington 1100 semi-automatic shotgun. I would go to the farm with my brothers and try out shooting some fast shooting pigeons to see if we can get enough for dinner. When I turned 14, I got a 12 gauge 3-inch semi-automatic Benelli shotgun and I started hunting deer and ducks. During this time, hunting and farming was my life. Growing up as a teenager was difficult for me because I wasn't able to have much of a social life, which made me very shy. I was always one of the tallest and most thin in school. I was definitely unique. Being unique and different made me stand out of the crowd, which made for an easy target for bullies. Throughout the years, being a target, it had a major effect on my self-esteem as a teenager. I was being pushed around almost every day and I wasn't able to defend myself. So I was determined to grow my body stronger than I ever thought was possible, with intensive weight training and bodybuilding. I started working out around 17 years old, which consisted of 4 days a week, 30 minutes of cardio a day, followed by 2 hours of heavy strength training, and forcing myself to eat when I was already full. I would wake up, make a 12-egg omelet for breakfast in order to have enough energy to work hard in the gym. A nutritionist once told me just to be able to maintain my weight at about 190 pounds, I would need to consume almost 3,000 calories a day or else I would start to lose weight. I was getting stronger every single day. I could actually see the physical results in my body. At 6'4" and now weighing 225 pounds, I was bigger and stronger than most. I no longer had any issues being pushed around. Turning 18 meant that I wouldn't have as much time to go hunt and go to the gym anymore because I would have to get a full-time job. The only job that actually interested me at the time was construction, and it didn't require a college degree. After a few short interviews, I quickly got hired as an electrician due to my farming background and knowing how to fix things. In the beginning, my title was an electrician assistant. I worked approximately 60 hours a week for $8 an hour. I came to realize $480 a week wasn't enough to cover my bills, and I knew I had to get another part-time job. I was shopping in the mall one day with my ex-girlfriend, and we went into the clothing store called Abercrombie & Fitch. One of the managers asked me if I would be interested in taking a greeter position. I happily accepted the position and started working there the following weekend. So I worked during the week full-time as an electrician assistant, and on the weekends I worked as a part-time greeter at Abercrombie & Fitch. I was so tired and exhausted, but that didn't matter. I still managed to go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. One weekend I was working at Abercrombie & Fitch and I was approached by a fashion model scout. The scout told me I should be in California working as a professional model. At first, I didn't take them seriously. I laughed, but then I realized they could be right. The scout told me they had a connection with one of the top fashion modeling agencies in California and that I should get in contact with the agency. I was cold, shivering, in minus 20-degree weather. I could barely afford enough money for heat. Imagining myself in warm, sunny California sounded pretty damn good right about now. And I had nothing to lose, so I contacted the agency and they decided to meet me and fly me out to California. I was nervous at first to go to the city. I was scared of the unknown, but I was excited and happy for warm weather and a bigger paycheck. The thought of me going to California motivated me even more to work out continuously and push myself beyond possible limits. After being motivated to go to California, I would work out almost every single day as hard as I possibly could. I would eat like crazy, I would work out like crazy, and I gained 45 pounds of muscle in the next 2 years. Several phone calls and emails to the agency later, they booked me a flight to California, and once I finally arrived, I walked into the first agency and I was signed almost instantly. Being a guy from the small town in Wisconsin, I had no clue how the modeling industry worked. All I knew was that I was in for an interesting ride. I thought as soon as I got signed with an agency, I would start making money, and that wasn't the case. After signing with the modeling agency, they informed me that I would need to do several photo shoots or model tests before getting any paid jobs. So I started meeting with several photographers and doing photo shoots in order to make some money. As time went by, I started getting paid jobs and I was working a lot. I wasn't making a ton of money, but I was working and getting paid. I was getting paid, but the cost of living in California was a lot higher than Wisconsin, so I had to adjust my living expenses. At this time, I was broke, so I took almost any modeling job offer or random gigs that was available at the time in order to survive. Some modeling jobs didn't go as good as I imagined, and there were photos of me taken by some photographers that I didn't really care for. I lost my model rights once I took their much needed payment, and the photographer gained the rights of my image to do as they please. Modeling wasn't as I imagined, and jobs weren't as consistent. I needed an alternate income if I was going to stay in California. Also, I didn't expect modeling to be as extremely competitive as I found it to be. After about a year in California, I went to visit my family in Wisconsin. While being in Wisconsin, I realized I could take my electrician skills to California. So, that's exactly what I did. I was working as a model and a construction worker during the week, and on the weekends, I would play hunting games. Still not being satisfied with the income that I was making, knowing I was in California, the possibilities are endless, so I decided to go try out bartending. I didn't have much experience at it, so I took a bartending class, and in a few weeks, I was a bartender. This was a fun job because I liked pouring drinks, I enjoyed socializing, and I liked meeting new people. After a few months bartending at one of the events, I happened to notice this very pretty girl who was dancing. She was unlike any girl I've ever seen before, and I knew she was definitely a rare girl. I really wanted to get to know her, so I walked over to her eventually and got her number. We realized that we both worked for the same company for the last 6 months and had never met, which we both thought was pretty funny. Going out for dinner together after working became a very popular event for us, followed by going to parties and dancing together. I found it very fascinating how two different people could yet have so many similarities. 6 years later, we're still together. Being in the city made hunting in real life very difficult because you couldn't just put your camo on and walk to the tree stand like I've always done growing up in Wisconsin. Going home once or twice a year was fine at first, but after a while it would seem like waiting for an eternity to finally be sitting in my tree stand again. That's when I started playing hunting video games more often, in hopes to get the same amount of satisfaction as if I would be out there again hunting in real life. I remember playing Cabela's Big Game Hunter Pro Hunts on PC, Hunting Unlimited 2011, and Cabela's African Safari on Wii. These were all great hunting games, don't get me wrong, but they weren't giving me the feeling as if I was actually out there. The feeling that I was missing, that rush of a heartbeat factor when you actually spot a big buck coming your direction, was still not there. That's when I started to Google. I searched for the best hunting game on PC, and The Hunter popped up. The first thing I did, of course, was YouTube The Hunter, and I was hooked. Wait a second. You gotta be kidding me. You seriously have to be kidding me. Like, you seriously have to be kidding me right now. Another 200 plus bull moose. Instantly, I knew that this game was going to be almost the same as if I would hunt in real life. I downloaded the game that same day. I would play almost every single day after I finished working. The Hunter was so amazing that I wanted to watch YouTube videos while I was laying in bed. That's when I realized there weren't any videos out there of anyone playing as if they were a real hunter. I wanted to watch someone play the same way that I would hunt in real life. So I said, I'm gonna make my own hunting video games. I'm gonna record the videos just the same way I would in real life, that way I can watch them whenever I want for as long as I want. But let's take a look at this giant bull moose. Another giant. And let's pick him up and see what he's got. We got a heart shot, 28.7 meters. We got a left lung heart shot, and he scores 231.6. And that's exactly what I did. I started making videos with my cell phone. Actually, I had an iPhone 4S at the time, and I would record the screen from, well, I would put a couple of books stacked up on top of each other and put the phone on top of it, and that's how I started making them. Eventually, I upgraded to my computer software recording program, but until then, that's how I started. A few months later, Call of the Wild would be introduced to PC, and my channel was one of the few who were actually playing it and reviewing it. Then, something unexpected happened. I was actually making real money from making videos. I was still bartending and working electrical jobs, however now, I had another job, and this one I absolutely loved. 109 yards away and he looks like an elk. That's it. It's now or never. Everything was good. In fact, maybe even a little bit too good. I had 4 sources of income coming in and I wasn't broke anymore. But I was missing hunting with my family. After going full time on YouTube for the last 6 months, I realized I now had a job that I could work from anywhere. So, after contemplating for several weeks, I decided to move back to Wisconsin and continue YouTube while hunting in real life and trying to make some real life videos. I decided to leave California and end my 6-year relationship with my girlfriend. This was a very hard decision for me. Next, I got a new Dodge Charger and drove almost 3,000 miles across the United States, through several blizzards, and driving through black ice with a rear-wheel drive car wasn't fun at all. Being back with my family was good, and being able to hunt more often made me happy. However, someone was missing in my life. And as much as I didn't want it to affect me, it did. Only half of me was in Wisconsin. That's because the other half of me was still in California. Over time, I realized that everything I ever wanted and needed, I already had in California. The only problem was that she was almost 3,000 miles away. Within a few months, I realized I couldn't stay much longer in Wisconsin. I belonged in California with her. At this time, I had already signed a 6-month apartment lease and my YouTube revenue wasn't enough to survive. That's when I got a job at a moving company. The job was not only hard on me mentally, but physically also. Lifting heavy furniture all day for 60 hours a week left me with little energy to make YouTube videos. But I didn't give up. No matter what, I tried to have a new video every single day. I knew that each day that would pass would put me one day closer to seeing her again. I knew when my lease ended, I would finally be free to move back and I would be happy again. 6 months later, I flew my girlfriend out to Wisconsin and then we drove almost 3,000 miles back to California to be reunited. I got my old job back doing construction work and we're back together. Well, sort of. At this point, she still had a roommate, so I had to find some other place to work and live temporarily. Then I got really sick. I had major pain in my lower stomach area. Every time I would eat, next thing you know I could hardly walk, work, or even make videos. I knew something was definitely wrong, but I had already been to several doctors and none of them could give me reason as to why I was having these symptoms. Well, 2 months later, I had been to the ER 2 times. I was getting no answers and I was getting no help. That's when I decided to go see a specialist and get an ultrasound on my own expense. That was the best $150 I've ever spent in my entire life. Because little did I know, that ultrasound was going to be crucial in detecting the hernia that I had acquired while working for the moving company, lifting heavy furniture back in Wisconsin. And 1 month later, I got approved for a surgery and I had hernia repair surgery done. I never started playing the hunter so I could talk for my entire life. But now we're friends, so I thought you should get to know me a little bit better. There are some rumors out there that are not true. People may twist things over time, but now you know everything there is to know about me. After listening to my story, you will understand that I'm not a typical hunter. I don't look like a typical hunter. I haven't lived like a typical hunter. And I'm not a typical hunter. I'm rare. And being rare makes me happy with who I am. And you should be too. Alright guys, well that's going to be the end of this video. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you get to know me a little better. And well, now you should know me a little bit more. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. We managed to take a shot, and he scores 340, total score of 957. This is my first ever diamond buffalo of any species. I've never even seen a 9 legendary before for water buffalo. The only 9 legendary I've actually seen is the jackal, and I did get a diamond jackal, but holy, I can't believe we just did it. We ended up making an awesome 35-yard left lung and spine shot. Perfect shot on this giant diamond water buffalo, and that was incredible. There he is. It's a mythical, and we dropped him. What a giant! Holy! Oh my god, that was incredible. Why couldn't it be a diamond though? Would have been absolutely insane if it was a diamond. He stepped out absolutely perfect. I thought he was a diamond. I'm shaking so bad right now.